Joe, never easy after a season like that. Ken Dorsey and Andy were both relieved of their duties today. Could you just speak to that and kind of the difficulties of this season for both of them?
Yeah, both great people. My relationship with Andy goes back to like the draft. He was one of the first people to come work me out and stuff. So I had a good relationship with him. He's a great person. I think it just didn't. You go 3-14 and the offense underperforms to that level. I think you look at things and people, get fired in those situations. Like it's an NFL. It's a tough business. But both those guys, worked hard. They did their best, and we just did not perform well enough on offense to not have to make some changes.
What is it like to go through, as a player, to go through those coaching changes from last year to this year?
Oh, it's different, You work with a guy like Coach Callahan, AVP, Scotty Peters for 4 years. You get used to their kind of lingo, the way we run things, the way we respond in games, and you're getting used to a whole new system. We bring in a new run game style. I'm not so sure about the passing game, but some of that stuff obviously has changed as well. And then you get into like how they react in games, how you respond, how you watch film, like all that stuff changes. Especially when you're used to someone for 4 years. So it's definitely a change, and we'll go through that. I'm sure they're going to bring in someone this offseason, obviously, and we'll see where we're at there.
Joe, would you think it would make sense to go back to the kind of Kevin run-heavy play-action scheme that you guys had so much success with the first 4 or 5 years?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's what Coach Stefanski's comfortable with. The marriage of the run and pass, you take your shots with some play-action heavy things. I think it's what we've had the most success under, and I think it's what Coach Stefanski is most comfortable with. The line was kind of built that way as well. I thought, me and Wyatt as pullers running some outside zone, like I think that was what I did well in my career, and I probably pulled like less than 10 times this year, overall. And there's games in my career where I pulled 8 or 10 times in a game. And so it was different for sure, but I think that's where the strength of the offense is, and hopefully we can, build it up and get the right people in the right position.
Joel, how do you think you guys handled all the injuries this year? Because those first 8 games, it was like 7 different lineups or whatever, but then things kind of stabilized. So how do you think you guys did in the second half?
Yeah, I think once we got to the second half, once Jack came back, White came back from his injury, Poe, missed I think 1 game. I think once we got the lineup back, and then DeJuan played for a few weeks, and then GI came in and played. Like, I think we settled down well. Like, I think if you look at even the numbers of pass protection and the run game, we didn't run a lot, but it was a lot more efficient. It felt good. Like, I felt like we were moving some people. I felt like we were getting comfortable. It's unfortunate the first 8 weeks of the season was what it was with the mix, but I do think the line settled in as the season went on.
Joel, you're talking now like you plan on being back next year.
Well, I don't have an answer for you there. I did just have some exit meetings with AB and the ownership, so you hear a lot of what they're telling you and what's going on. But I've talked to them. We're going to take some time and kind of see where we're at in a little while and see how we're feeling and what the plan is and what we want to do in our future.
Did you like the plan that they laid out?
Yeah, it wasn't. They didn't get super detailed. Obviously we saw some of the stuff, but it's just good to hear that, in season, like you're playing week to week, you don't have that ability to, if they know you're not on the same page or do they understand what kind of went wrong and stuff like that, and to hear it from their perspective and kind of what their thoughts are on the team and where we need to make improvements at. It's good to hear those things and see, you got to see what happens with it, but to hear their thoughts is always a good thing.
Do you have a timetable for yourself on like when you want to make a decision by?
No, I mean, I'm sure like you got to do something before free agency or whatever. They got to know what's going on. You don't want to leave the team high and dry. Like, wait till August and be like, yeah, I'm going to stay on the golf course. So there's there's some things like that, but I don't have a timetable. I really want to decompress and just fill it out and give myself a chance to rest the mind and the body and see where we're at.
Joel, why do you think that
Excuse me.
why do you think switching to kind of the principles and philosophies Ken Dorsey brought proved to be more difficult than anticipated?
I don't think it's just that. I think, you're used to something for 4 years. You do something like, we were switching philosophies kind of the last couple of years as well. And then Flacco came in and he was more of a pro style. Like this is how he could run Coach Stefanski's offense. So we had a little bit of that. But I think this year they wanted to go all in on the RPOs and the game and what made, Sean most comfortable at quarterback. And we have to execute that stuff too. Like I'm not going to blame just like Dorsey or Coach Dickerson. Like we're all in this, like the guys have to perform, the guys have to execute. But it's just different. It's different for the guys. It's different for what guys have been doing, what they've been taught. And so it takes some time to start filling it out. And then by the time maybe you start getting comfortable, quarterback gets hurt, a guy gets hurt, you keep mixing and mashing the offense. Nick Chubb doesn't come back till week 6. Like there's a lot of factors that go into it.
Joel, if Deshaun Watson is the starting quarterback in week 1 next year, is that something that you can embrace and get behind?
Yeah. We know Deshaun's part of this team. We know he's working hard to come back from the Achilles injury. And if he's, our starting quarterback next year, I think the AB, Coach Stefanski, the offensive coordinator, whoever that is, has made that choice because he gives us the best chance to win. And that's something that, we're going to support as a team.
Joel, Kevin and Ken, both of you were saying it's such a high level this year. Did you feel you were playing as well as you have?
Yeah, that makes it a little difficult too because I still feel like I can play in this league. You know what I mean? And it's just like the burden of playing in this league is tough. And as an offensive lineman, you have to be fully committed. Like you don't get to play. No offense to D lineman, but Brandon Graham's playing his 200th game and he plays like 24 snaps. You know what I mean? Like you're playing 55 to 85 snaps every game. I think I got close to 1,200 snaps this year on offense. And that's a big commitment, and then the practices and stuff like that. But no, I do think, and then once we settled down, the O-line got settled, I think I got more comfortable, and I feel like the last, 6 to 8 weeks, I really played my best football this season. But no, I do still think I can play in this league. It's just, there's other factors as well.
Joel, apologize if this is asked already, but I know before the season, Wyatt had sort of talked about just like the philosophical or like approach that Phil Callahan had versus what Andy had. Did you guys maybe miss that approach to things more than maybe you thought you would at the start of the season?
Yeah, I think we all knew that Coach Callahan was a great O-line coach. Like he's had the resume, he's done it. We had 4 years of experience with him. So I think we all knew that was going to be something we missed. But, we had faith in Coach Andy as well. And it's different philosophies the way you coach. Bill's a little bit more in your face about things, and Andy's more, how do you want to approach this? It's more of a group think type of thing. But yeah, we didn't do enough. We didn't execute well enough on offense, and I can't point fingers at one person. Like I think it's such a group effort, and there's so many factors that go into it that you go 3-14. Someone takes the bullets for that, but yeah, it's an unfortunate situation.
Did you feel any better about things after your exit meetings today?
Everybody's frustrated. Everybody's, how did this come about? Like, what are your thoughts? I think it's good to like just talk and get it off your chest. So like there was definitely some positives in that sense. It's still frustrating. I think it's going to take me a little bit to, I think Miles said it yesterday. Like we went 0-16, and I don't know if that was quite as frustrating as this year, just with expectations, what we had done in the past. So it's still very tough.
If you decide not to come back, will you miss having kind of like on a farewell tour? Like Rodney knew all year that he was going to hit the
That's not really my thing, I'd much rather just, be quiet about it. I mean, I'm so pumped for Rod because like he deserves that. He's such a professional. But for me, like, I don't know. Like I'd rather just be not even known. You
don't want to be back there to take that last snap?
No. Yeah, I'm good.
Thanks, Joel.
Sweet. Appreciate it, guys. Thank you, guys.